Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome in today for episode 49 of the Pod
47. It's 47.
40. Run it back. Harith, I know you got it. All right, ready? Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome in today for episode 47 of the Podwans podcast. I am your host, Char J, joined by my co-host, Luke.
How is it going, everybody?
Hope you guys are doing great. Today we'll be talking about season 5, episodes 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the Clone Wars, aka the Onderon Arc. This is a very interesting arc. We're going to be seeing some Saw Guerrera. We're going to be seeing some Hondo Anaka, Lux Bonteri, Stila Guerrera, more Ahsoka, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Rex. This is a fun arc. It's one of my personal favorites, and I'm excited to cover it today.
But we have some exciting news.
Yes. Would you like me to announce it, or?
Sure. Go ahead.
All right. So we have a new co-host joining us for the Podwans podcast. He has been a long-time viewer, editor, follower, trivia competitor, and most importantly, friend.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's introduce our new co-host, Harris Productions.
What's up? Also, I love how you're like cut it back, but it's like it's live char. I guess you guys are just so insulted
we're
to
not
like
cutting anything.
it's like you guys are just in the memory of like, yeah, cut it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Harith, my friend.
Yes.
Welcome. Finally, we've gotten you
official.
into the fold. We've gotten you to the fold. Tell us a little bit about the transition and kind of what the plans are for They Fly Now. Just so that we can be transparent and not have it feel like you're leaving one for the other.
I am not leaving one for the other. I just wanted to put that transparent out there right now. They Fly Now is switching from live to pre-recorded starting in July, but I thought it'd be easier to make the transition now to switch to live for Podwans every Thursday. So officially, we are now a triad. Sorry, I guess the triad's better than the dyad.
Yep.
So yes, from here on out, Harith will be joining us for our Clone Wars rewatch and further live episodes
and reactions and he's just going to be part of the gang now, and we're very, very, very happy to have him on. He's done a lot of things behind the scenes for us, so it just seemed natural to add him into the fold. So couldn't be happier.
No one has been a bigger part of the Podwans podcast than Harith has done for us. So
I've been here since season 1.
That's true.
It's actually it's a big honor for us to bring you in and have you be a co-host with us. So thank you.
All right. Now that we've gotten some housekeeping out of the way, let's get into it.
You never would have made it as Obi-Wan's Padawan, but you might make it as mine.
And we're back. All right. So, per usual, I like to bring in the returning guests first and then the new guests afterwards.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So, our first returning guest, she is a big part of the Podwans podcast. She was one of our judges during the Star Wars trivia tournament that we have been doing, and she is on here to talk about some Onderon. So, let's bring in Alanis at Notakyber.
Hi, besties.
Hi. How you doing?
Hi.
How is everyone? I'm excited.
I am excited too. I'm excited to talk about this arc specifically
Yeah.
because
It's a good one.
Who doesn't like Onderon and Saw
Right?
Guerrera?
Alanis, where can the good people find you on the social medias?
So you can find me at Notakyber on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to see me be serious and not talk about wanting Thrawn to rail me, you
Off to a great start.
always.
All right, now
you
this became a PG-13 show.
You can follow
So if you're
me
under the age of 13, get out of here.
Get out.
Go to bed. Go to sleep.
Child.
You can follow my teacher account, which is at Discovering the Galaxy on TikTok. I do teach a Star Wars elective, so that's fun.
Remy, you're funny. Sorry, I'm live on TikTok.
All right. Anyways,
Hold on. Remy said, Pharaoh Remy, I'm live on TikTok as well. She said the Queen Alanis.
Remy, I love you.
Remy, go hop over on the YouTube. Hang out with us there. Don't hang out here with me. and just me.
Just me.
It's not fun. Everybody in the chat, X-Core Gamer Skills.
X-Core
Buddy, he's alive. Good to see
I've
you.
not heard from X-Core in a long time.
Darthman86 or Kenny, always appreciate the love. Like the stream, please. It would help the podcast immensely.
X-Core, I hope that beard is still looking long and beautiful as always.
Yep.
All right.
Star Wars Lawyer. We're finding love in all the we're finding love in Onderon places. Love it. I love it. And yeah, Char, go ahead.
All right. So our second returning guest for today's show, she was a competitor for our Star Wars trivia tournament. She came in, I'd say, third place.
Say.
No, the semifinal match is already out.
I know.
Yeah, but you can't say anything about the.
Yeah, no. So she was a big part of this Star Wars trivia tournament. She has been on many arcs before, including Blue Shadow Virus. Please welcome in Kir at Mandaklorian.
Hi, hello again.
One of my favorite people to talk to in all the Star Wars TikTok community.
You guys are all awesome. Good to see you.
Kir, where can the good people follow you?
I'm mostly on TikTok, Mandaklorian, but also on Instagram.
Awesome. Ready to talk some Onderon?
Absolutely. It's one of my favorite arcs as well, so I'm really excited.
There we go. And Char, bring in the newbie.
All right, so our new guest today, he's coming into the Pod Ones podcast for the very first time. I don't think he's ever been on any roundtables, reactions, or the Clone Wars show. Luke got something very special from him at Star Wars Celebration that gave him access to a very special event. All right, so let's bring in Nick at CodenameFulcrum.
Hello there. Greetings, everybody.
Nick, how is it going?
It's going great.
Where can the good people follow you on the social medias?
Well, we've got the TikTok handle, I guess, is over there. The codename_Fulcrum. On Instagram, it's Nick_codename_Fulcrum. All the underscores. But yeah, those are my two like Star Warsy things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the thing that Char was alluding to was he was so gracious enough to give me a wristband because he had gotten into the celebration stage, right, Nick?
Yeah.
For the Thursday show.
Yeah, I was like 10 feet away from Tamura during the whole thing. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Insane.
So he was messaging people in the Discord server that we had, and he was like, "All right, I got an extra wristband. Who wants it?" And everybody was pinging me like in my Discord. My Discord was not working. Like it wasn't working.
I remember because we were in the middle of a panel. It's like, Luke, DM him now.
So it was during Chaco's appearance with I can't remember their podcast. I'm gonna sound like a real asshole for not remembering, but I don't remember it. Sorry. It was Book. They're from Canada. That's all I know. They're a couple. Sorry. Like everybody was like the first thing that people were saying, Hayden Ewan live stage now. And second was Luke, you gotta DM him. I DM'd him and he was like, I'm over by the food truck. And I was like, okay. But I thought he was at the other one. So I ran all the way down from the fountain, all the way down to the other section. Wasn't there. Found out that there was other trucks parked right in front of the fountain, which I don't know why I didn't see that. But I ran as fast as I could, ran into the Demolantas from the Schmodown. And I met up with Nick. He gave me the bracelet, and I was able to see. I was able to go to the world premiere of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I did only see the first episode, and we'll get kind of into Celebration a little bit later, and we'll have some fun. Kir unfortunately wasn't able to because she got COVID, unfortunately, but
Okay.
You were sorely missed. That I can tell you that right now.
I
we
watch
did have
streams. I'll be the outside perspective. For everybody else who has FOMO, I can be the
we had a lot of fun, and we'll get into it after the episode. But first of all, Brooke _Dazzler, we've got to do our spiel. Far, Far Away Factory. Chart, take it away.
All right, so Brooke runs a clothing sticker. She manufactures a bunch of different cool apparel, whether it be Marvel, DC, Star Wars, everything. She makes great content, great clothing, and you can also find her stuff at her Etsy page, aka Far Far Away Factory. You can look at the website at farfarawayfactory.com, where you can find all of her cool stuff that is already existing and new ones that will be coming in the future. You can follow her on TikTok at Bedazzler and on Instagram at Far Far Away Factory. Get your stuff. She makes great apparel.
She made my custom Jordans that I wore for Celebration. She does a lot of custom stuff, and she also made it. She had a little article written about her, so go check that out.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That's awesome.
Comicbook.com. They made an article about her Vigilorian cosplay that she did at Celebration. So
And James Gunn retweeted her.
Yep.
Tweet about
Yeah,
it.
we were actually at the beach that night
famous
when it happened. Actually, that was a good time.
Luke, I'm actually kind of honored that you let me talk about Far Far Away Factory, because usually it's you that addresses it.
No,
But
you know.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. Anyway, so are you guys ready to kick off the first episode of this arc?
Yeah, unless we're talking
Let's
about
do
the
it.
Ron Railing trilogy.
Oh no!
He's always with me at all points in time.
Oh my god!
But Onderon's cool too.
I love how Alanis both have our copies of Lesser Evil. We were on like sync with that one.
Well, this is where liberty dies with thunderous applause. Anyway, Anyway, all right.
This is gonna go well. You can
This
tell
is gonna
already.
go very well. We're already 12 minutes in, and I'm already shaking my head at Alanis. That usually is not very hard to do.
That's a record. That's a record.
That might be actually true. All right, so we are talking episode. Is it really 48 or is it 47?
47. I'm literally looking at
It is
right
47. Yes.
Okay.
45 was Asajj. 46 was the mall.
Okay.
Was it a mall ascension?
Good.
Yeah,
I'm
mall
just making
ascension.
sure.
now. It's
All
a
right, so
multi-turn.
episode 47, the Onderon Arc. So the way we already we start these is that we do an icebreaker question. Okay, so here's the icebreaker question. If you were on Onderon during this time of this arc, what role do you think you'd play within the rebellion? And would you even be a part of it? We'll start with we'll start with Harith first, being the new co-host. We'll kind of get his takes on things.
Honestly, I don't really think I would really participate, to be honest. Like, unless like it was like really drafted like by the Republic to Onderon and like help serve, like maybe it would be kind of like that Anakin Obi-Wan role of like the stereotypical let's help them out and like get them to like train themselves to fight. But honestly, besides that, I really don't think I would serve that much of a role.
Harith, would you be that guy that got his identification card that failed?
Yeah.
Your identification failed. He's like, that's impossible.
What did I do?
Instructions."
That's no Harris. Yep.
That's good. That's good. Nick, you go next.
Yeah, I would definitely be a part of the rebellion, and I would definitely be one of the leaders because I do not do well at working for people. I always like to be in charge, so yeah, I'd kind of want to be at the forefront of that.
Nice. We'll go Alanis.
I'm just gonna be completely honest here. Whatever side gives me the best opportunities.
Love the honesty.
Like
Wow.
I really gotta be real here.
Wow.
I
Okay.
love-
we see how it is.
Little Hondo mentality there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I love success. So, if the rebels are gonna give me some success, I'm gonna go that way. But I mean, unfortunately, if the king's like, hey bestie, would you like your own castle? I'm like, I would love to be royalty. Please sign me up. I may not align with any of your morals, but I
All
do
right.
look good in a crown.
All
So
right, well, that's literally how. Man.
14 minutes in.
Chaos.
All right. Well, if we lose her, it's because of the storms, not because of me booting her. So let's just make
Yeah,
that very
honestly,
clear.
Alanis, you should change your TikTok handle to not a chaos.
Yes.
Because it's like, it's like you are chaos, but it's like
But it's
You
like
don't expect
facetious.
chaos.
And chaos is a ladder. Anyway, we don't like Littlefinger here. We're a non-Littlefinger podcast. Kier.
Yeah.
Finally to get to Kier. Would you join?
I would probably be like a bartender who like had like a secret key to get to like, I don't want to do Kenobi spoilers, but I think if you've seen the 3rd episode, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, we're gonna get deep into that later. So don't, if y'all haven't seen Kenobi, leave the fuck now because I'm just gonna be honest right here.
You're a day
what are you
late.
doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah, what? Yeah.
This is a Star Wars
Yeah,
podcast.
so like
You
the
just
path,
not
like
talk
I would
about
have the
it.
key to the path, and I'd be like, all right, here, I know some people. Here's the coordinates, whatever. Like I would be involved, but not like.
Okay, I respect that. I respect that.
At least I know
All right.
I'm getting my drinks.
There you
Awesome.
go.
Yeah.
Hey, we all get free drinks if we go to Kier's bar.
That's right.
That's a W. All right, Char. Let's get into it.
All right. So the first episode of this arc, episode 2, season 5, titled "A War on Two Fronts." All right. Separatist takeover complete. Another Republic planet has fallen. Onderon has seceded to the Confederacy of Independent Systems under the rule of a new king. However, a small band of rebels has taken refuge deep within the vast and savage wilderness. From an abandoned outpost, they plot to take back the heavily fortified capital city of Isis and end the Separatist occupation.
Very nice, Char.
And you know what the good thing is too is Harris, my biggest critic on those plot summary readings.
Oh,
What
now
is-
we get to hear him say, "Oh,
I've done
yes,
this, like,
this
twice
could be a
tonight.
segment of its own."
What's your
I would
grade?
give it a good 2.5. It's not your best, but it's not your worst. It's
Out of
just kinda
5 or out of
average.
10?
Out of 5.
Oh,
Okay, all right. Whoa.
Our
2.5. It's kind of
Man, that was rough. That could have been really, really bad.
so that's a 5 out of 10. So that's an F. Okay, thanks.
all right. Well, you guys step
All
up
right.
your game. Now,
Anyway.
if it was Guilford Godfrey, it would have been a 10 out of 10.
Hey, if we
But,
go for
yeah,
Godfrey,
Yeah,
I
if
may
I want
want
to
to
erupt
roll
my whole
higher.
house.
Anyway. Char, you want to ask the first question?
Certainly, I will. So the first question out of the typical 2 to 3 questions that we ask per episode is. So the moral of this episode, let me clarify that. So the moral for this episode is fear is a malleable weapon, and I think that is a very important part of this arc, just because of how the Separatists think, or how King Rash uses fear as a means to his own like success and also self gratification, and how he's able to gain the sight of Dooku. But you see that a lot during this arc. And so the first question is, by choosing to help train a group of civilians, the Jedi both follow and contradict their own morals. How do you think this shows the progression of the Jedi Order at this point in the war? Anyone can go ahead and take the reins.
I'll jump in. I think what is interesting about this arc, it is very like Dark Disciple-esque in the sense that like this is kind of where the Jedi really are kind of starting to veer. They're still kind of trying to hold on to that last shred of like their morality and who they are, but they're like, yo, we got to win this. So I think it's really interesting that they choose to go this route, because they're kind of choosing that kind of like in between gray area of, okay, we're still Jedi and we still want to help, but we still do kind of need to win this war, and we still need to kind of end it now before things, get worse.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true. I mean, I'm rereading Dark Disciple at the perfect time, because obviously what happens in episode 3 of Kenobi, I specifically Dark Disciple. I think we're gonna
spoilers. We discussed this already.
I know. I'm not getting into spoilers, not until later. But all I'm saying is that there's going to be a lot of things taken from that book that are going to be mentioned here in the show. I guarantee it. That's all I'm going to say. Kier, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of, I don't know. Star Wars has roots in like real life war and history, right? So
Yes.
it kind of reminds me a bit of like the Cuban Missile Crisis, or, list. I don't want to get political, but like a lot of areas where America has covertly kind of been part of it, but not been part of it.
Afghanistan, 1960s and 70s. We
Yeah.
caused our own enemy. Yeah.
There you
Love that. Love that part of history, baby.
Yeah, well, it's gray, and the Jedi, for being so black and white, or saying they're so black and white, it's telling. Like Alanis said, they're kind of at this point in the war where it's like, okay, well, what can we do to kind of like loophole around it? And it's tough, whether that's right, whether that's wrong. I'm glad I don't have to make those decisions. But
yeah, not wrong. Nick, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think gray is kind of the best way to put it, because like they're not really so much in the light anymore. So like now things are getting skewed, and like as the episodes move on, that kind of pops out a little bit. I think one of my favorite things in the beginning of this, though, is like Anakin is like largely responsible for starting the rebellion. Like 20 years later, it's like, oops. But, it's like, oh yeah, I kind of started that. But I mean, yeah, that's the big political thing, is that like the original Star Wars, George Lucas based on the Vietnam War.
Yep.
And like the US being the empire and stuff like that. And this is really reflecting that aspect, and hard to know like what's good, what's bad, and who's on the right side.
No, yeah, absolutely. I think it's insane to look at the real life things, like I just talked about, like what we created our own enemy 20 years later. No, 40 years later. And it just goes to show you that this is a galaxy far, far away, but there are a lot of elements that are real life. And it is very important to remember that as we watch some of these things. You know what I mean? But I really, this is a very underrated arc for me, because it is steeped in a lot of history. Well. Onderon in Legends is a very important planet. I mean, obviously, the Bontaries were representatives of Onderon, so that's big importance right there. But I really didn't. I enjoyed this arc a lot, so I'm really glad that we're talking about it. Char, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Onderon is one of my favorite arcs, especially when I saw it as a kid, and seeing Saw Guerrera for the first time. I was like, this guy has got some sassiness towards Lux.
Yeah.
But he's also, it's like that brotherly love thing where it's like you want them both to succeed, but at the same time you guys are struggling, so you guys kind of like bang heads, and then once time comes, you'll get to mesh better, and you get to understand that there's one person that does some things better than the other, like how Saw says that, remember, this is a war, Senator. You can't this is not like a world of politics we're dealing with here, because the politics have failed us. So the dynamic between those two is so cool, and I love the energy that Ahsoka has when Lux is around with Stila, because it's like we don't know what's going on in Ahsoka's head. Ahsoka has like that energy of like, I want to be in that position, but I'm a Jedi. I have to stick with my duties because there is a separatist occupation going on. What Anakin tells Ahsoka in the later episodes in the arc was like really cool, because when Ahsoka was like, you understand what I'm feeling? He was like, yeah, I do. And it's like, we all know what Anakin's been doing around behind the scenes, quote unquote. And I love that everyone just comes together and works to fight against the same cause that the Republic has been fighting for years, and also these band of rebels that think they can take down this whole entire army. I just find it to be so courageous, especially with having very, very little odds of success. And especially with the king, the quote unquote new king of Onderon, King Rash, is trying to pull these strings and trying to like be so self-centered and confident that the rebels can't do anything. And I love how they're being called terrorists, because that's exactly what the Empire called the rebellion. Because it's like that certain point of view where if they're the greater power, if there's anything that's done against them that's bad, they'll be seeing that as terrorism rather than heroism.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right.
I love that point of view.
Real quick, we're gonna circle back a little bit. There were some people that hopped in the chat that I had missed. Ven _Skywalker, thank you. We've got to have you on sometime. I've been meaning to reach out to you. Obi-Wan Kenobi, who is going to be on next week, talking about the younglings.
Ooh, the gathering, yes.
Yeah, with
Ooh,
Brooke, Brooke.
that aged like
Nice.
greatly.
Yeah,
Time-wise.
yes, absolutely. Escape Reality Films. Thank you for always coming in
Caleb.
and supporting. Caleb, appreciate it,
Yeah.
man. Appreciate it. Chatting time, buddy. Always good to see you. Let's
We also
see
have Cal.
here.
We have Cal
Cal
here.
Ford just joined as well. Cal, thank you so much. Miss you so much. It was so great. But yeah, that's what we're working with. And another interesting comment here. I think Anakin is also responsible for Saw's radical guerrilla warfare that we see later on, winning no matter the cost. Yes, and I believe that is one of our questions later on. But it's fantastic. It's great. It's great. So speaking of Anakin, Harith, I'm gonna have you ask the next question.
All right. Sorry, I'm trying to roll all the way down.
No, you're good.
The second bullet under.
Yeah, second bullet under episode 1.
Okay. While Anakin never wanted to be a teacher, this episode really highlights his strength in teaching those around him. What do you think charged within him once he became Vader? Do you think he ever really lost that drive to teach? Again, like last time, it's an open panel. Whoever wants to take.
I think because he kind of lost the selflessness when he became Vader, and the selfishness and the power hungry aspect took over. I think he still had that teacher instinct, but as somebody he could help like supplant the Emperor and rule himself. So it became more of a power aspect than a kind of a selfless teacher.
You're absolutely right there. Think about it, Nick. If you pay attention to the 2017 Vader comic specifically, they start the Inquisitorius, and he's not teaching them out of the goodness of his heart. He's doing it out of necessity, and to also torture them. Basically, he chops off limbs. He does all these things. Like, that's different than teaching the way he is teaching these rebels. He's teaching them how to survive, yes, but he's also teaching them values, like togetherness, everything like that. When it becomes Vader, it's all about survival. And for those that were at the Tales of the Jedi, you get to see a point with Anakin training Ahsoka where you get that Vader moment of it's amazing, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. I won't go into
Try again.
Yeah, again. It's very Vader-esque, but not to the extremes that we're used to seeing Vader as well. But Kira, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I just keep thinking about by the time we get to Return of the Jedi or even Empire, where he's with Luke, right? Because we don't see him. I literally was about to say we don't see him chop his limb off. Yes, we do. Sorry, I take that back. Okay. But by Return of the Jedi, he's clearly, I don't know, there's a change, right? And I know it's his son, so I know it's different, but I would love to see more of that evolution or more of that breaking, more of the struggle between the Anakin good teaching versus the Vader like chopping off limbs part.
We had a little moment with Vader and Ahsoka in Rebels.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you see that glimpse, I think that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we couldn't have timed this any better.
Nope, we couldn't have.
Yeah,
we couldn't have timed this any better. Like literally, it's my ability to schedule things out like a year in advance and then have it like run into things. It's just amazing.
It's the Force.
It is. We willed it somehow.
Yeah.
All right, Alanis.
Yeah.
Char, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, you can pull up some of the comments in the chat. They're talking about it as well.
Yeah. So Kenny goes, no, teaching the Inquisitors took higher priority, but he never actually cared about them. That's exactly right. It was out of necessity. It wasn't that he wanted to do that. He had to do that, Remy, I think when we see a real glimpse of Vader wanting to really teach again is when he meets Luke. You're absolutely right. I would agree with that.
Your skills are complete.
Obi-Wan Kenobi says he got that at Disney. And my mortal enemy, Aiden talks.
Aiden, bestie.
The Watcher is here.
You know, I did call you out last night. It wasn't on purpose. And I thought you were gonna come at me for calling you out for not making content. You called me out for Denny's. You could have told us that you didn't have to go. You could have told us that you didn't want to go to Denny's, and I would have been okay with that.
So Nick,
I
if
didn't
you're
think anything
unaware
of
of what happened, so I wasn't with them, but I was like told like what they were doing. So instead of like, so it was like in the morning before they would go to the celebration.
Yeah.
They would go to Denny's and get burgers at
In the
like
morning.
9 a.m.
No. Let me preference this. It was not me and Aiden. It was Bale, the British boy,
Okay.
who got a cheeseburger every single morning.
Yeah, but
I mean, it's in a different time zone, so I guess.
That's true. We'll give him that, I
I'm
guess,
just
right?
questioning why you get a cheeseburger at Denny's when In-N-Out is right there.
I know, right?
That's,
we ended
you,
up-
you were definitely
Denny's
not
has
with the
better burgers.
Californian then. That's basically what that means.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's
Tread carefully, Luke.
yeah, so essentially I think Luke insisted on everyone going to Denny's when
I wanted their hash browns. Their hash browns are okay. It's not the
but Luke,
greatest.
it is a group effort, not about you, okay?
Whatever. I was tired. I was hangry.
Get your hash browns to go.
By the way.
I feel like Aiden's about to have like a "I am what you made me" moment.
No, literally. No, he
Yes.
literally
Yes.
will. He will.
I am
He will.
what you
There were
made
things
me.
on this trip that we learned about Aiden Talk Star Wars topics that nobody will ever forget. I can tell you that right. That.
Oh yeah. Oh, believe me, I have footage.
Cal.
Their hash browns are
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty
me.
much Denny's.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh
That's
no.
Denny's in a nutshell.
X-Core is
Yeah.
one of them. No.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, no.
Anyway.
We lost X-Core. No.
Oh no. Anyways, love you, bestie. Oh,
X-Core,
God.
I'm a big Pancakes fan. I'm sorry.
Love it. Okay.
No.
All right. Alanis, your thoughts. Coming from
God,
a
I
teacher.
lost my train of thought. I lost my
Your
train
thought?
of thought.
Thrawn?
You said
Thrawn?
Thrawn and
Thrawn, you
lost
got
your train
Thrawn
of
on
thought.
mind again?
Always on the mind.
Oh, off the rails.
Yeah, so wait, so what are your thoughts on Vader's ability to teach? Or Anakin versus Vader's ability to teach?
So, as a teacher, I do see a lot of like myself and Anakin in the sense that like I never like actually wanted to become a teacher, like at all. Much like how Anakin never really wanted to become a teacher, but as you are kind of thrown into it, you find a love for it. You find a love for, your Padawans or your students. And I think that is what was missing from Vader, is he didn't have that connection with who he was teaching. So he lost like a huge part of himself. So kind of where we kind of see Anakin loving what he's doing and having a purpose and a goal, Vader didn't really have that. So that's, I think, is the big switch.
No,
That's a good point.
Absolutely. And I mean, in this episode, we get the reveal of Stila Guerrera. She is the voice of the group, where everybody thought Saw was going to be the voice of the group, and I found that really, really interesting. Harris, your thoughts real quick before we move on to the next episode.
Well, I mean, everyone brought up really good points about like Anakin being a teacher, because obviously with the Inquisitors, you have that whole interesting dynamic of him, like when he becomes Vader, and how he wants to chop off people's limbs, and like how he's kind of like had a stance off, and like how he doesn't really want to do it, gets pushed into it again. Kind of goes back to what Alanis says of like you're kind of want to be a teacher when you get thrown into it. It just kind of happens. So like again, and I think it also just goes back to Anakin and Vader are the same person because they have very similar moments. So again, and like the whole rebellion aspect of him teaching them to fight, coming back to haunt him back later on the show, because saw Guerrera. So again, I thought there was all interesting points across the board.
Yeah. Charlie, any other thoughts?
Other than the fact that Vader teaching the Inquisitors is a lot more violent, while Anakin is very pleasant and he wants to make sure that the group is included and they are, what Obi-Wan says, a symbiont circle. But they want to. Anakin is a very uplifting person, but he also wants to get jobs done. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to half-ass anything. But juxtaposed to Vader, it's vastly different. So that's my thoughts.
Nice. Well, that wraps it up for episode 1, A War on Two Fronts. Now, Char, episode 2. Is it a short one? Is it a short?
No.
Okay.
I think this is probably the longest plot summary reading I've ever had.
All right, you go ahead and
this
you
is
do
like
you,
2
boo-boo.
paragraphs.
You do you, boo boo.
Time to do 2 times speed, Char.
Okay. Oh no, yeah. Okay. All right. So season 5, episode 3.
No, 2.
The front. No. I'm talking about in the actual.
Okay, gotcha,
yes, season 5,
sorry.
episode 3. Front runners. All right. Jedi form Rebel Alliance. Led by Anakin Skywalker, the Jedi have trained a band of rebels to fight the Separatists on the planet Onderon. With the help of the Jedi, the rebels escaped capture and infiltrated the heavy fortified city of Isis. Now, our heroes have launched an armed campaign to subvert the Separatist occupation of the planet. The Jedi Council continue to observe and advise as the rebels strive to gain momentum against the Separatist forces. Despite the absence of civilian casualties, public fear has ensued as reports of the rebels' daring strikes circulate throughout the city.
Harith, what's the moral for this episode?
Sorry, I was like, my Chrome was flipping out, so I didn't hear what you said exactly.
So, what's the moral of this episode?
Again, I was sort of to the last second here with the originally.
So it says to seek something is to know the possibility.
Yeah.
So the first question, I'll take it, and then we'll just whatever. We'll just go with it. So Ahsoka proves herself as a leader during this episode. Considering that we know that Ahsoka leaves the Order soon after this arc, what does this mean for her character development? How is she showing herself as an individual rather than just a Jedi? Anybody can take the floor.
I have a lot to say about Ahsoka.
All right, here you go. There's your chance right here,
I know,
right
but
now.
this is like the Ahsoka is like in this whole story arc. Well, I think it kind of jumps off of the first time that she meets Lux and that whole story arc with like Padme and meeting with the Separatists. She kind of sees that there's really more than one point of view with this. But in dealing with this, she really starts to see the cracks in the Jedi Order, in that she really thinks the Jedi, like their whole role should be selfless in helping people. And then suddenly the Jedi can't. And the Jedi aren't allowed to, and there's these boundaries, and she's right there teaching them. She could help. She could help these people's plight, but all these rules, all these regulations, all the politics are getting in the way of that. And she starts to really see that the Jedi aren't what they said they were all about. And that really shines through in this. And the same types of things that she's having issues with here, you see at the end of season 7. With a lot of that. One of the reasons why she never actually comes back to the Jedi Order is because that same issue with Mandalore happens here with Onderon. So I really see that she's starting to struggle with the Jedi Order in that moment.
Yeah, that's totally true. Kier, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Nick's right. I also see Ahsoka as just being more of herself, like you said, like a leader, and it's exciting. I mean, it's easy to compare her to like season 1, but even season 5 or 6 Ahsoka, she's different. You know, you see that evolution, you see that growth, just as a person in general, just growing up. And I think it's clear that she's just as when you grow up and you question your parents' morals or your parents' opinions or whatever, like she's starting to question and realizing maybe this isn't the right way, you know. Even if she's not saying that necessarily, her actions are speaking louder than her words in multiple episodes leading up to when she leaves the Order.
Okay. All right. No, yeah, I totally agree. That's a good way to put it. And, like, both of you really nailed it down because I mean, we are getting closer and closer to the arc that Ahsoka ends up leaving the Order, and we see from season 1 all the way till now her character development is just so vastly well done, and it's one of the only characters that I can really say in Star Wars has a great arc in a one series. You know what I mean? She gets the amount of detail and attention that not a lot of the characters in the movies got, if that makes any sense. We got
sorry.
No, go
I
ahead,
think part
Kira.
of it's Dave loves her so much.
Well, yeah, that's probably true too.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like this is why I love that we are getting series of things and not movies of things, because like I've always said, Star Wars, in my opinion, it should have always been a TV series. That's what it was written as. He watched Flash Gordon, Saturday morning cartoon, Saturday morning like Batman. Like he
Serials,
got all
like-
these serials. Thank
Commando
you.
Cody.
Yeah, it's literally like Star Wars is made for episodic TV series. And the fact that we're finally getting it well done with Mando, Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi now, Bad Batch, Clone Wars, just all of these things, I think it does so much that the movies couldn't do because you're shoehorned to 2 hours and 30 minutes. That is the span of a human attention span, and I feel like with everything that is longer, like TV shows, you're able to get more stuff in, and you get this better character development.
Yeah, shows flesh out characters, story, and I'm glad that we're getting a lot of shows specifically onto singular characters.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And especially with Ahsoka, like you said, her story is nowhere near over.
No,
and we get more of her. We get her in Clone Wars. We get more of her in Rebels. We get more of her in her own show, and we even get more of her in Mandalorian. So it's like we can't get enough of Ahsoka. So,
oh yeah, absolutely. Alanis, your thoughts?
I think one of my favorite things about this arc is I think we see the first glimpse of Ahsoka like making her own choices because she doesn't have Anakin and Obi-Wan around her. She's like, okay, this is my decision. I have to own it. I have to, own whatever happens. And I think it's like a huge, progression. And especially when we see her again in season 7, I think it is they're very similar in the ways that like while they're still figuring out like who they are, Ahsoka is still like growing and learning. And I think that is so special. And I just love seeing her grow. Like, I feel like she's like a little sister to me.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Harris, your thoughts?
Again, I think it just kind of goes back to like it's interesting how like again you were so close to the end of her story, and it's just like, in this show of like how she's just kind of transitioning to this leader role with like Luxon Carey and like everything else, and like how indirectly like I said earlier, she's kind of inspiring like what she's gonna become after the show when she becomes into Fulcrum, because we know Saw Guerrera was like connected to the Fulcrum mantle during this arc. So it shows like it's like a little bit of interesting foreshadowing that we see Ahsoka transition into this leadership role for the rebellion. Little does Anakin know that's what she's going to become later on. So it's just like I love how this arc is
parallels.
Yeah, this arc is one of the most important arcs for the entire show because like you get this big moment that leads into Rebels.
Well, and the fact that we get Saw Gerrera.
Yeah, who's so different in this arc because
who looks so hot in this arc.
Glad somebody said it.
Oh, well,
there someone had
those
to.
eyes.
Had to be me.
Those eyes,
right? Those arms.
They get you.
Yeah, but it's we have now just gone off the deep end. Thank you, Alanis, Notakyber, for.
That's the third time.
No, she does it so well.
Make it a fourth.
Oh,
a fourth.
Anyway, Char, take the next question.
The next question is for front runners is many of the people on Onderon are on the same side of the rebels. What do you think this says about the average person during the Clone Wars? do you believe that there was a heavy allegiance to the Republic or the Separatist or just their planets?
Yeah, I think it's mostly planets. And I think especially when the farther outer rim you go, the less people cared. What's the line Jin says? It's not a problem if you don't look up. Like it's just kind of, it's one thing or another. Like it's just one, or in Mandalorian, I'm going to totally butcher this, but when Bill Burr is talking to Manta,
oh yeah, the one with on Morak.
Yeah, and they're driving, and he's essentially just like, that sentiment of it.
They're all the same.
They're all the same, and I think a lot of people feel that way because they are in lesser important planets, who maybe didn't get prioritized or couldn't get prioritized. It's. I think it goes to like family, like kind of like what Alanis said at the beginning about like what's good for me. Yes, I would love this. That would be amazing. But what's going to keep my family alive? I'm just going to deal with that, which is sad, but accurate.
Yeah, that's a good point too, Anil. I mean, there's a lot of different systems in the war that are very independent and don't serve a side. And this is like what the rebels were in this episode. And what you were saying with the people on Morak and Mandalorian, it's like they don't see Empire, they don't see New Republic, they just see whoever's there as invaders on their land. That is it. And it's from that simple perspective we're able to tell, like, is this war even necessary? Do we need this war? And I like that point that you gave. It's awesome.
Thanks.
I have so many feelings about this question, and I have been thinking about it all day. One of my favorite things about Star Wars is not, the Jedi, the Rebels, the Empire, all of that. It is the stories of the everyday people. Because I think in the grand scheme of things, that is what interests me most about Star Wars. It is everyone else in the galaxy. Not to keep talking about Thrawn, but one of my favorite things about, the Ascendancy trilogy is the fact that we see like these little bits of like, there's like a cashier. There's like a Chiss cashier. And I was just so drawn to that because we forget that, there's the custodians, the teachers, the bartenders that we forget about. And I think
dance
that
coaches.
We forget a lot of the times. Dance coaches. Yes. I think that we forget a lot of the times that while we focus on all of these battles and political conflicts, that there is so many people underneath. And a lot of these people underneath, like Kir said, they're going to choose what their family wants. And just because, if they choose the Separatists, it's not because they might align to the morals, but maybe the Separatists say, all right, here's an extra ration of food where, the Republic can't give them that. And I think that is something that is so interesting about this arc and seeing kind of this, kind of off, the beaten path planet and seeing their culture and their ideals. And I think it is so important when we think about Star Wars in the grand scheme of things to remember that, there's more to the galaxy than just, people with lightsabers. Like there are everyday people with families. And I think this arc does like a great job of bringing that to the light.
Remy, there is a story of a Star Wars bartender. It's called A Certain Point of View, A New Hope. I can't remember what exact
Chalman?
name of it is. Chalman, yes.
Yeah, the Wookiee that owns the cantina.
Yes, a Wookiee that owns the cantina, and I've never been so excited. So, Remy, if you haven't read A Certain Point of View, A New Hope, go read that. It's awesome. And also, we might be getting a story about Dexter Jetster.
Yes.
Possibly.
Long overdue.
Well, the man deserves it. Obi-Wan, what do you know?
Hello, Dex.
Hello, Dex. Anyway,
take a seat. I'll be right with you.
Dex, by the way.
No,
New Jersey New Jersey owns Dex. If you've been to New Jersey, everyone in the chat, if you've been to New Jersey, you can confirm that every single diner has a Dex.
No,
Dex is from New Jersey. I will live and die on that.
Here.
I'm sorry, I've been like 10 years. She's totally right.
That explains why people from New Jersey look the way they do. I get it now.
You're not wrong, though.
If you're from New Jersey, I take it back. But if you're not, I meant it.
Don't take it
No,
back.
I am.
No,
They're living in New
No,
Jersey.
no, it's confirmed.
It's a choice.
All right, hold
It is.
on. Here we go. Now we're getting some traction here. Ven goes, I can't confirm. My town diner has a Dex. We love him.
There you go. There you go.
Remy is actually.
Do you
going
want
to
a
be-
Nerf burger?
Yeah. Remy will be visiting New Jersey, and she will have to be taken to a.
Remy, I'll make sure to take you to Stafford Diner. Shout out to Stafford Diner. It's all Dexes in there. That's it. That's what it is.
All Texas.
Mickey's Diner in
White
Minneapolis
t-shirt with like
has
sweat.
Yes.
all.
Yes, I can't confirm this, Cal. I have been to Minneapolis, and I have been to that diner. It was quite amazing, to be honest with you. Not gonna lie.
Luke, you know what I
Also-
should have done when I first met you? Instead of the Lando Han encounter,
Should
I
have
should have
done
been like,
Dex.
"Hey, old buddy!"
Yeah,
and I start pulling up my pants.
That was a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was a
here we
missed
are.
opportunity.
My brain went a completely different place when you said that.
Yeah, well, you know,
Mhm.
hey, you know, it is what it is.
Oh,
Anyway.
sucks.
I'm for it.
Anyway.
Feels right.
Anyway. Who hasn't answered the question? To be honest, I can't even remember what the question was. If I'm gonna be
The
Derailed
Rebels,
for
the
a fourth
people.
time.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is gonna be a fun one to listen back to.
Well, I mean, I agree with the what people basically what Kerr and everybody was saying is that I mean the people just want to go about their daily lives. You know, they don't want this disruption, and so like when an empire or something comes in and disrupts that and starts to control them, then it and you know they can't do what they want to do or live their lives or like feel safe, and I think that's when people start to choose sides is when they feel that happening. But otherwise they would rather have neither for the most part. And you see that with so many story arcs, like at the end when like the Republic saves them, but then the Republic kind of takes over a little bit and you're like, oh, that's not going to go well in a few years. Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
And like every single time. Yeah. It's just like you're replacing one with the other.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, even in Kenobi and looking at Andor and looking at some of these that are
Bad
taking
Batch
place during
with Ryloth.
in Bad Batch as well. They're all
Mhm.
lining with everything that is going on because it benefits their planet. It's not necessarily they're throwing away their morals. It's just what they're making decisions. What's best, what's best for their people. You know what I mean? But yeah, I've absolutely it's been a great conversation with you guys on this because it's a very good arc. It's a very open arc. It has a lot of connections to a lot of other films and a lot of other things in the franchise. So it's very, very important arc. Harith, did you get to answer the question?
No, I didn't get the answer to the question, but essentially it's the same answer as Kir. It's like loyalty to planets. It's like what's kind of the reason to be like loyal to the Republic or Separatists? Because like to the average person, does it really matter? Because like I get to like senators and the leaders, like that it matters because like I need to like represent them in the Senate. But it's like to the average person, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and essentially the answer to the question is whether or not which side you're on. It's a matter of get off my goddamn property.
Essentially.
Pretty much.
I thought you were about to say how big your pocketbook is. I won't lie.
Oh, that was a missed
Oh.
opportunity.
Good.
Damn it. All right. Anyway, let's talk about the third episode. Episode 3, The Soft War. Is this a short one?
The soft war. I will find that out in 3 seconds. Luke, this is literally your episode right here. The title, you know.
What do you what?
I'm not
What?
alluding to anything anyway. So season 5, episode 4, The Soft War.
We're canceled.
All right.
We're canceled. We're done. Is it a short one?
It's pretty short.
Okay, deal for Godfrey. You got to do it
No.
at least once.
You
Why
got that too,
not?
right?
Oh, damn it. All right, well,
What have I done?
Okay, the soft war is a short one, apparently.
Season 5, episode 4, The Soft War. The rebels elect the new leader. With their training complete, Obi-Wan and Anakin have left Ahsoka on Onderon to monitor and advise the rebels as they continue to strike separatist targets under the command of Stila Guerrera. Facing an escalation of rebel attacks, the separatists have sent reinforcements to straighten their hold on the city of Isis as the battle of the planet unfolds. Harith?
We're just gonna forget.
Where
everything that just
I
happened.
didn't even
I
hear
just want
what
a
you
mind-
said, just
a
simply
mind
because
wipe.
of what you said
A mind
earlier.
wipe.
That was where my
Mind wipe.
mind was at. So
Mine. Nope.
I'm just gonna say 1 out of 5, just because
Wait, what's happening?
automatic rating of 1 out of 5.
Wait, what's happening?
Nothing. We're just gonna move on.
Is
So
there
the
something
first
wrong with my
question,
mic?
the moral of the episode.
Whoa. Is
What?
there something wrong with my mic?
No.
No.
Why was I just skipped?
No. All right.
Uh,
We're just gonna forget what happened earlier.
I
we're
am
just gonna go-
confusion.
Derailed
exactly.
for a fifth
Okay.
time.
Yeah,
Yes.
it wasn't even intentional. It was completely on accident. So the moral of the episode is struggles often begin and end with the truth. So the first question is as follows. Stila is obviously a very influential part of Saul's life. How does her character and drive shine through this episode? What do you think separates her from Saul, and how do their differences become more apparent as Saul gets older?
I think the biggest difference is that. Oh, go.
No, you.
Okay, mine's really quick. I was gonna say I think Stila's biggest difference is that she knows how to listen, and Saul doesn't. I think that is what separates them. I think they both have drive. I think they both have passion. I think they both have commitment. But I think Stila is open to listen and understand, where Saul's like, "It's my way or you're wrong."
Yeah, she's able to compromise. Where exactly what you were saying. There is no compromise with Saul at all. So
I would
he
argue
bases
that
things
she
off
had,
of emotion.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very brash and just reacts instantly, and that's the way
Mhm.
he's going to go versus taking a step back and thinking.
It's logical versus emotional.
yes, kind of sounds like Anakin
Mhm.
and Obi-Wan, does it not?
Hey, Luke, just for you, I'm reading this next plot summary. Godfried.
About time.
I'll do it for you.
Anyway.
The better one, the better
Anyway.
bit.
Because Kir hasn't heard it. Nick hasn't heard it, but the rest of us have, and it's just a joy. So, Kir, what were your thoughts? Because I know you started saying something and then you agreed with Nick.
I mean, I was gonna say emotional. Essentially what Nick said, but I do think if Stila had survived, she would have.
She made him more grounded.
Yeah, so I don't think Saw would have been as, whatever the word is I'm looking for here. I think and just she had that yin and yang, right? And I think Saw knew that. Because he kept a photo of her with him, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously he missed her, but I think he knew that the two of them together were a much more powerful force than just, or could have been a much more powerful force than just Saw.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Harith?
Well, again, like I said, it's just logical versus emotional. That's how I describe the two. There's that very big, again, it kind of it's foreshadowing for what happens later on in Clone Wars, Rebels, and we just saw his arc in general of you just see Steela's death just push him over the edge, and he goes full send into emotional extremism. So again, that's kind of the big difference, is they're supposed to be both sides of each coin.
Char?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning of this episode, we see that big hologram of Steela's announcement to the city. And I don't think Saul is that type of person yet that would do that. But obviously you do see that in Rebels with the Mon Mothma scene. But he's very he's at that point in time where Stila, I think, is much more mature than him. But I think that Saul has the animosity to animosity for war against like any terrible threat, while Stila is very much calculated. She's able to address the situation, but also think clearly in her head. So,
oh yeah, absolutely. Char, go ahead and take the second question.
all right. So the second question for episode 4 of this arc. Throughout the galaxy, we see stories of ordinary people becoming something great. How does that become apparent during this episode? Why do you think that it's a story that becomes repeated time and time again?
Great question. I
mean,
wonder who
that's
wrote it.
But I do think it's a story that's repeated time and time again because that's the audience. We're all ordinary people and they want to think that we can be heroes. So that is a reason, I think, why it's such a captivating trope. But I do also think that Star Wars, rightfully so, is focusing more, kind of like what Alanis was saying, on like the bartenders or the dance instructors. You know, the ordinary people who...
The glup shittos.
Yeah, like the club shittos even. Like the people who make small movements and small choices that become reverberating echoes through, you know, like it doesn't all have to be Skywalker, Jedi, people, that sort of thing. It's almost more powerful when you see the little things that people do every day to stand up.
And that's what you're going to get a lot of in Andor.
Yeah.
Which
That's
I'm
what
excited for. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
That's gonna be so good.
I think even in the original Star Wars, what people related to is like there was this farm boy that went from like nothing, like just in some desert, and then ends up like helping save the rebellion, and some like smuggler who was just kind of in it for himself, like also helped do the same thing.
Yeah, it's a story of nothing to something.
Yeah,
I love that part of storytelling.
Yeah,
Ray.
Yeah,
biggest example of that.
Everybody loves to see that. It's kind of one of the more inspiring, like, kind of story arcs. And same thing with like Rogue One. I mean, yeah.
I mean, the Pod Ones podcast trivia tournament, we literally had Cinderella story and Kir literally coming out of nowhere.
She's never done trivia before, and then she's over here busting
Never.
ass.
Yeah, see, I think she was pulling our leg when she said that she had never done trivia before.
I've done a group trivia Star Wars, but never on my own. So.
Okay. All right, but you
just taking people out.
She was. It was like, wow, this is entertaining. Like she had me rooting for her the entire time. Like, not even gonna lie.
And now look at her with her hat. She's the rebel leader. I mean, that's quite the story arc.
There we go.
Absolutely. Alanis?
I think the most like poignant pieces of media are the ones that we can see ourselves in. And as much as we all want to be like, I would be a Jedi, I, for one, would be a terrible Jedi and would be kicked out of the Order within 48 hours. But the characters that, like, it's the truth. But, like, the characters that I do really see myself in, the characters that I really, like, see myself in are the ones that are the everyday ones. And I think that is why it's a story that is told time and time and time and time again, is because we can connect with the, you know, average person doing something great rather than the person who is already great. Because I think by human nature, we kind of like to kick ourselves and put ourselves down. But when we see, like, you know, the everyday person, we can kind of connect with them. And when they do something great, we can kind of acknowledge the greatness within ourselves. And I think that is why it is told all the time in media, and specifically through Star Wars.
You're not wrong.
Well said.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Retweet.
Who is not
retweet?
Who is not gone yet? Everybody gone?
Think so.
Char, your thoughts?
I haven't gone, but I mean, I think everyone has made clear about what, all of the beautiful stories about these regular people going and being beyond what they ever imagined, and gaining this importance to so many people, and that it's inspiring, and it's just a beautiful thing to watch. It's like Rey, like Finn, for example. Finn literally was just a stormtrooper, and then now he's one of the biggest heroes in the galaxy. Like, there's so many different instances where these characters have very short beginnings, but have very big outcomes. I just love that part of Star Wars.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, let's move on to the final episode of the arc, episode 4. Char, you break off
Okay.
time, baby.
You were just waiting for that? Okay.
All right, 3, 2.
Do not
1.
count me down. All right, ready?
All right, 3.
Okay. Hopefully, I don't, get a noise complaint because.
Okay, go.
All right, I don't half-ass this. Already? War in the Inner Rim. Rebel leader Stila Guerrera has joined forces with General Tandon after boldly rescuing Onderon's former king from execution, evading a trap set by separatist ally King Rash and the droid General Kalani. Amid growing public support and rising unrest, Ahsoka continues to monitor the rebels' efforts as they rally around Ramses Dendup to restore his reign as the rightful king and finally put an end to the separatist occupation on Onderon.
Enter Jafar.
I love how Cal's like rips everyone's ears. Did you guys just not see me take off my headphones and just hovered over my ears?
I loved it.
See,
And
Luke,
the
that's why I
cadence
don't
sound
do it.
perfect. This was
You know
good.
what? You know what? Half the chat is rooting for it. Half the chat isn't. And you know what? I decided.
hearing. Yeah.
I decided.
Just blow our eardrums out.
You know, it's the bit, and that's the bit of the Pod Ones podcast is that you
Commit
have,
to
you
the
have to
bit.
How much
for-
energy
for-
it
for
takes
it.
to read that.
But anyway, we'll get back to it. All right. So the moral of the story. God dang it! I gotta stop doing that. Moral of the episode is disobedience is a demand for change, which is very, very, very. It's a very good moral for this episode because we are starting to see that the inhabitants of Onderon, the citizens, rise up against the separatist moves. So the first question, obviously the Jedi helped the rebels become stronger. In your opinion, what is more important, the training in artillery or the passion behind one's cause? Do you think that one can exist without the other, or are they linked?
There was a job I had for a big company that was a tech company, and they told me once that you don't need to know anything about tech to you don't need to know anything about tech. We can teach you the tech, but what we hire for is the passion and like the people who are behind it. And I totally agree with that. Like, you can learn how to shoot a gun. Yes, there's talent. Yes, there's strategy, all of that. But like, I think having the right kind of person is the most important thing.
Definitely. I mean, like the whole first movie is A New Hope. And the fact that like these rebels in that are like getting by on like Y-wings, like old Y-wings that they had to like steal and make happen. So they're getting by on scraps to fight this empire.
Don't bash the Y-wings. Those are my favorite ships.
No, the Y-wings are great, but I mean, in Rebels we see that they're about to be old and about to be destroyed. Yeah. I mean, they work great, but yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely more like what Kir said was just the passion that will help lead to other things.
Absolutely. I mean, you're both spot on because I think it's you can't have one without. I think they are linked. You can have that talent, but where is that talent going to take you if you don't have that drive or that passion behind it? You know what I mean? Like you can only go so far with one and the other, and they just are so well linked together. So that's perfect. Alanis, your thoughts?
I think like the big, example of this can be really seen between like the Separatists and the Republic. Like Separatists are a bunch of droids for the most part. And I think they lack, the passion and the drive that the clones have. And I think that kind of explains it best. I think everyone kind of summed it up. Like they are linked, but I do think that passion is more important than any type of weapon that you can give someone.
Yeah, and I was about to say because I mean, I believe Rex says this in the first episode that the droids are only useful when in numbers, and
Yes.
then it's simply just mind over muscle, essentially, because the Separatists they're only good when they have a bunch of soldiers at their disposal.
Yep.
But the Republic is great because they have the heart. They have what they need to win, and especially with people like Rex, Cody, Wolf, all of these clone commanders and captains that are leading the way, that have such a drive and passion for victory. That's just simply that's simply all they need. Like when Luke always sees a very powerful droid, and it was like, if they manufactured that droid 10,000 fold, they would have won the war. Well, no, I mean, like they said, the droids they're a bunch of idiots, essentially.
They're just numbers.
They're just there with weapons, and they just go pew pew. Like when they saw the grain, is like, that's an explosive? How can you tell? It's
Bunch
like
of clankers.
they don't have that like emotional drive that the clones do. So it's a lot of it has to do with the fire in the belly. So
yeah, that's a good point, because Ven says tools mean nothing without a heartbeat and drive to guide it. You're absolutely right. And
except if you're Mr. Bones, that's the only exception.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Mr. Bones. Harith, your thoughts? Just everything together?
I mean, retweet everyone's saying. Like,
All right,
again,
there we go. We love it. We love it. So for the last question, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about Stila Guerrera's death. The catalyst that starts off Saw on the downward spiral, and what eventually leads him to what we see in his end in Rogue One,
and in the Bad Batch too,
and Bad Batch and Rebels, and
Yeah.
everything else.
And
You start
everything
to
he
see it
said.
really early. Stila's death is the catalyst for the rest of Saw's life. But how do you think that her death affected Ahsoka? Do you think that it was a driving point to her leaving the Order?
I mean,
Nick,
yeah. I mean, the whole thing with, like, had the Jedi been able to step in earlier and like help out, like she could have saved. Like she definitely feels responsible at the end there for not being able to save her. But like, had they been able to do something from the beginning, that death might have never happened.
You're absolutely right. Kier, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Nick. I think it's one of those. Sorry, my brain's a little slow today. I think like having somebody's death, on your hands, or you're responsible for something like that, it really affects Ahsoka more than maybe some other Jedi would.
Anakin.
Like Anakin, yeah. And I think it just it reminds me of when Finn in Force Awakens like just couldn't shoot, just that you kind of have that like character realization, like, oh, this is not this isn't for me, or I can't deal with this, or I really like everything inside of me is disagreeing with how this happened. And it makes you feel for Ahsoka if you didn't already. Like there was no winning in that situation. And it would feel natural to feel any kind of animosity towards the Jedi because they put her in a lose-lose scenario, So.
No, you're absolutely right. Alanis?
I also think when I watch this episode, one of like the big things that I always think about is the fact that like if Anakin was like right by her side, what would have changed, if anything? Because that was like her decision in the moment. It's what she had to do, and she had to deal with it. Kind of more on like a solo end of it. So I definitely think her death, like everyone said, had a huge impact on her leaving and kind of her decision to carve her own path.
Do you guys think if she had saved Stila instead of Lux, it would have been like what would have been different long term?
Oh, 100%. Like everything would have been played out differently on Onderon, and with Saw Guerrera and like everything with that. Like, Lux Secretary like had a thing with Ahsoka, but like It's not really. That would have played. I think it would have affected the entire like almost the state of everything. Because Saw wouldn't be where he's at, and Bad Batch was trying to lead the new rebellion. Like no, everything would be different.
Very right.
I mean, I think Ahsoka would have ended up in the same place probably because I mean she was already seeing the craft.
Hard
but-
agree.
Yeah,
And
but
also, it was like
it
she
would have
had-
changed for Saw.
She had a bigger heart for Lux too. Like she had an emotional connection to him, so I feel like it would have had an even
Yeah.
bigger impact.
That's true.
I bet and she already felt responsible, and felt bad for Saw for letting his sister down, but letting Lux down, like the guy that showed her that war is more than black and white. The guy that proved to her that the separatists aren't as bad as she thought they were, and basically she like Lux and Ahsoka was going to be the Anakin, Padme, Obi-Wan Satine kind of thing. It was like they have that dynamic where if either way she had the motive to leave the Order with either one of their deaths.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that's my
Oh, yeah.
thought.
Absolutely. It's very compelling. Let me know if I'm lagging really bad on your guys' side because my internet is pretty bad. It says connection is unstable. So,
Well, Luke, you're unstable. Okay.
I mean,
Chaos.
you're not wrong.
Chaos Rising.
So that's gonna be it for the episode. Char. 3 interesting facts.
All right. As per usual, we have my little segment, what I like to call my 3 interesting facts. Okay. 3 interesting facts about a certain Clone Wars arc that you didn't know about until now. Part 29, the Onderon Arc edition. Fact 1, a confusion in continuity. Though airing after Revival, the episode 1 of season 5, the Onderon story arc was originally placed before the events of that episode, as can be seen by a number of production clues. The older Yoda model makes an appearance, and Adi Gallia can be seen sitting on the Jedi Council despite her death. Perhaps it's Stila. The true chronological placement of this episode is in relation to Revival has yet to be determined. Fact 2, the design behind King Rash. As is evident in this episode, the design of Isis draws heavily from ancient Rome. King Sanjay Rash's design heavily features Roman influences, including a headband that suggests gilded laurel leaves at his temples. Fact 3, Hondo's ship name that connects to Indiana Jones. Hondo's yacht is named the Fortune and Glory, a nod to Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, wherein Indy and Short Round talk about seeking out fortune and glory. And there you have it. Those are the 3 interesting facts about the Onderon arc.
Fortune and glory, kid.
Very cool.
Very well done. Sometimes you got it. Most times you got it. Sometimes you don't. But you got it this time, kid.
Hey, if I can make up my facts with my my subpar plot summary readings, I will do that.
All right. So everybody, we all know how this goes. For those that don't know, Nick, you're the newbie.
Yes.
So this is the episode ranking, and this is all for the entire arc. So we have Youngling bad, Padawan okay, Jedi Knight good, Jedi Master great, Grand Master chef's kiss, and we have had now 6 Grand Masters.
Yes, so we have had Mortis, we've had Obi-Wan Undercover, we've had Zygeria, we've had the Padme arc with Pursuit of Peace and those episodes, and we've had I think wasn't the Maul Ascension?
Yep, Maul Ascension arc, which by the way, for those listeners, will not be available to them. Or will have to check it out on YouTube. For some reason, I lost the audio recording, unfortunately.
Good job.
Yeah, but we've had quite a bit of Grandmasters so far.
Yeah. But let's get into the rankings. Nick, what's your ranking?
I would say Jedi Master.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I mean, I think it's great, but yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't dispute that. Kir, your ranking.
Yeah, I mean, Jedi Master. it's arguably the start of the rebellion, right? Like it's kind of super important for a lot of reasons, and it's just a good arc. So, Jedi Master.
Absolutely. Alanis?
I'm saying Jedi Knight. I think it's great. It is not one of, I would say, my favorites. I don't go to this one to rewatch it. I think it has a great storyline. I think it's really compelling. It just doesn't like live in my brain like rent free. Like I charge about $50 a week. So I'm going Jedi Knight.
Okay. Harith?
I'm gonna
For
go
your
Jedi.
for your first ever ranking as a host. It's a big
I'm
moment
gonna-
here.
I'm gonna say Jedi Master, just because the final episode with like Stila's like death, I always just imagine that shot of Ahsoka holding her in the air and her getting shot. Like that's like a memorable moment in the show. So I would say just for that alone, I would say Jedi Master.
Okay. Char?
I give this one a Jedi Master just because of going off of what Kir said too. This arc plants so many seeds for the future of Star Wars. And like the rebellion, Saw Guerrera, Ahsoka's leaving the Jedi Order, and there's so many different things that happen in this arc. And I just love everything that happens. I love that the small group, the small band of rebels can defeat the big bad, the ones in control, and it's typical Star Wars, you know. So a
No,
Jedi
yeah.
Master.
I am also going to give it a Jedi Master. So with one Jedi Knight and the rest as Masters, I think we can push it. I think we can make the official ranking of this episode a Jedi Master.
Yes.
There's
only one Jedi Knight, so yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you
rank
know,
you,
we'll
Alanis.
call her-
Yeah,
we're
rank
just gonna
you.
call it- we're just gonna call her out. Nice job. Good choice. L
Good job.
plus Bozo plus ratio. So how about that?
I'm still on the council though. Might not have the rank as master, but I'm on the council.
Yeah. Don't. Yeah. Okay, Anakin, get out of here.
Obi-Wan
You gotta
Kenobi.
be careful of her.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Not gonna end well.
Obi-Wan said, "Doesn't Hondo eventually name his ship Katuni? He does have a ship named Katuni, and you can see it in the Smuggler's Run ride at Galaxy's Edge."
Yes, and in the Yep, that is very true.
Mhm.
Pat, Jedi Master. Kenny says Padawan. Hot take.
Bold stance.
Most
Bold
of the
move.
time, bold
Bold
move, I
move.
guess. Obi-Wan Kenobi says, always left a bad taste in my mouth that Anakin and Obi-Wan are kind of just there. And then after everything has happened, even though they had to stay uninvolved.
Well, it was just like Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan in the Phantom Menace. We cannot use our power to help her.
Mhm.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, I think
We're
that's
here
the
to
point.
protect
It
you.
should leave a bad
Can't fight a
taste in
war
your
for you.
mouth.
Yes, it should.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because they can get involved when the Separatists are directly involved, which they were. But for some reason, the Jedi Council didn't want to involve themselves with something so...
Mhm.
Well, it was their fight.
It was the ruling faction was aligning with the Separatists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is it for us talking about the arc. But let's get into Star Wars news.
Okay.
All right. So, a little show called Obi-Wan Kenobi dropped Friday.
Oh no, man,
What?
it's time.
Little show.
Never heard of that show. What is that?
Wait, when?
That's a weird
When
name.
Oh, are you behind?
Kenobi?
Man, Kenobi. It's like the biggest show on Disney freaking Plus.
I didn't know Alec Guinness came back from the
I
dead and did
called
Obi-Wan.
this shit. I called it from the beginning. I said this was going to be the biggest Disney Plus show, and I've been validated yet again for all the haters. Anyway, so we got the
Keep
first
going.
episode. We got the first. Disney's never gonna allow us to do celebration on the podcast stage. So I've kind of.
Hey,
just gone
you
with it,
don't
and I had to-
know that.
Hey, we ain't friendly. We aren't friendly. Family friendly.
I
I'll tell you that right
ruined
now.
it by saying that I wanted Thrawn to rail me, so sorry, guys.
And you just said it again. Anyway.
I don't know. They acquired Fox. Anything's possible now.
And that is true.
That is
possible.
You never know.
very true. So last week was Star Wars Celebration.
I remember.
All of us except for Dear Kir, which I was very, very, very sad when you announced that you weren't able to go.
Yeah,
I was
me
really,
too.
really, really looking forward to getting to meet you and seeing you and doing all those fun things. But
Like go to Denny's.
shut up.
Denny's.
She would have she would have told me not to go to Denny's.
I probably would.
But could I point out X-Core's comment, please? Can we highlight that? I want it highlighted just so everyone can read this.
Wait, hold on.
I'm reading it right
I need
now.
it.
X-Core. You know, you
Star
do
Wars
have a
Celebration, Nebraska,
no, you
2024.
still have a spot on the Force episode. Do you want to find yourself not on that episode? Because we can definitely do that.
I
Hey,
think
Luke,
every
I will-
episode we've been on, Nebraska gets bashed at some point. It's great.
As it should. It's a fictional
Jinx!
place.
Jinx!
Nebraska's real.
You know what? I say we should all just call for a vote of no confidence in it.
This comment's best. I added the Kenobi soundtrack to my barbecue playlist. Might be a bit too soon, but here we are.
Love it. Love it.
Love the energy.
I see Choco's in the chat.
Oh, Choco,
Kenobi
finally
Bobs.
here.
Oh,
He was in the TikTok live, and I told him to head over here, and he finally listened to me. Anyway, so with Star Wars Celebration, we got a lot of updates, but let's talk about Kenobi first because it is the freshest in our minds. Not to get into too much detail, because we will be talking about it on our roundtable tomorrow night. That all of you can watch, join in 7 p.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow. Harmless plug there. But what were your overall thoughts so far up until this point of episode 3? First 2 episodes, what were your guys' thoughts? How do we think it's all been up until this point?
the intro to Chef's Kiss. Like I love it. I love it. I didn't think I wouldn't love it, but I love it. There's a lot to say, right? But I think the intro was cruel and totally. I was literally like, okay, Kenobi, and then the first episode happens, and within 2 minutes it's Order 66, and I'm like literally screaming at my TV. But I don't know what I was expecting, of course. But not that it's bad. It just was like, oh shit, like this is gonna be intense, you know. So I'm loving it.
Yeah, and also the recap scenes from the prequels didn't help either.
So speaking of which, me and Fulcrum, we didn't get that. We didn't get the recap at the beginning. It just went to a straight cold open for the premiere.
Oh dang!
Which is fine because you end up getting the flashback scenes later anyway.
But the recap, it sets the tone for the entire show.
It absolutely did. No, absolutely, it did. No,
we just got hit with Order 66 right away.
Oh yeah,
it was like the first thing.
And I thought we were safe because Dave Filoni wasn't, you know.
And unfortunately, I think we might end up getting some callbacks to that in the next few episodes. It's possible.
You might, yeah.
I think so
like
too.
anything's on the table.
I'm trying to
Nick, your
prepare
thought?
myself. I mean, I think it's fantastic. I mean, it's really it's giving me everything that I hoped it would, you know. And like we're getting that dive into Kenobi's character for the first time. Like Kenobi's always been there, but like it's always been about somebody else. So we're really getting to see his development, and like, oh, little Leia is just
I love her.
Amazing.
I love her.
And
baby.
And and like I'm super excited about Reva's story arc. I am like I can't wait for that to unfold. But it's giving me everything that I want. You know, and we're only 3 episodes in.
Oh,
3 more to go.
Alanis.
Obviously, I absolutely love it. Every second of that show just blows my mind. Every episode leaves me stunned. I do have to say though, I think my favorite thing about the Kenobi series is like, obviously I've talked about it a lot this episode, me being a teacher. What's so cool is like I grew up with the prequels. And all of my students grew up with the sequels. And seeing them kind of, this is their first real live introduction to Obi-Wan, and seeing them connect with this character and see him for the first time, you know, as things are coming out, has been such a really cool and rewarding experience, because, you know, they get to see their introduction to Obi-Wan in a way is the series, and I'm very curious to see what their interpretations of his character and their feelings towards him as, you know, the series concludes or continues on. We don't know yet. I just love it. And I can't say I love it.
Harith, do you want me to tell the story of us watching the episode together, or would you like to do that?
You can
Because I
go
think
for
it's
it.
hilarious.
I don't know how far you're gonna go with it, but
Oh, I'm
go
going
on.
all the way, baby.
You're going all
Like,
the way.
I'm going all the way.
Okay, go for it.
So, Harriet's parents were with us when we watched the first episode. But the funny part about it is, during the day we were at the convention, and Harriet gets a text from his dad, and he goes, "We're picking up a 55-inch TV. The TV here fucking sucks," quote unquote. They went out, bought a 55-inch TV with a Roku just for us to watch Kenobi. And then the next cut, no, it gets better. Then the next text, ask Luke what he wants to drink alcohol beverage wise. Just everything you could think of was there in that hotel room. And so to talk about me and Nick's kind of experience, because it was probably closely the same. Maybe I was a little bit more emotional. I can't. Haley Corellia Coffee Works was sitting next to me while I was watching it. So I will say that watching it with all those people that first episode was wild. It was one of those moments where I will probably never, ever forget it. And I do thank Nick for that opportunity, because without him, I wouldn't have that special memory. But I remember watching the first episode. Me and the demo launches had to leave because we had prior engagements. But I walked into my hotel room. Aiden talked Star Wars topics, and Harris were sitting there. And I go, "You're not ready for this fucking show." And I hadn't even seen the Vader reveal. And I was saying that. I walked into the trivia recording, and I said, "Y'all ain't ready for this fucking show." And then I got to watch the second episode. And
with like 10 people.
With Harith, Aiden, Car2D2, Char, Kylie, Alanis was there, and Bale. I don't think I've ever sobbed more than the last 5 or 6 minutes just of Obi-Wan in Leia's interactions, and then obviously him finding out that Anakin is alive. That was so well done for me. And the way Deborah Chow was able to get that reaction out of Ewan, and the way Reva has been played, Moses Ingram has done something that I don't think we have seen on screen quite yet. And this week's episode just pushed it over the edge. I said that this show was going to be game-changing. It's exceeded my expectations. There were things that I wanted to see from this show that we haven't quite. I think there's still possibilities that we could see. I cannot talk about this show more than enough. I can't wait to go deep diving tomorrow, because there's just so much there that we can't really get into now, because this show means the world to me, and the fact that we are getting it. Thank you, Kathleen Kennedy. Thank you, Deborah Chow. Thank you to all the people that are involved in making decisions like this, because without them, we don't get this show. So that's my spiel. Char, your thoughts?
No, that was really well said, Luke. And if you guys want to see our reaction to last night's episode, it is up on our channel. So if you want to go see
Ooh.
our tidbits of us
I wish
reacting to
I
certain
wish I could
scenes,
just take the
can see it.
footage and just
Um,
release that, because just like the whole time I was just like having these hard choices, like what do I keep in and what do I cut, because there were just
Yeah.
so many little great moments. I was just like, I gotta cut that. I can't keep that in there.
Mhm.
Yeah, Choco can attest. I did look like a zombie when I walked in there. I was a mess. It
Yeah,
was
Luke,
not.
You
when
done
Not good.
well.
when I was in in the room with you guys watching the episodes for the first time, the feelings that were just flowing through me were so surreal. And when you were telling me that I wasn't ready for the show, and neither were any of us, you were 100% right.
Just
I mean, it's so funny how we were preparing for this and we were still not ready for what has happened through so far in this show. We're halfway through and we're just blown away. And I'm just so excited to see what's going to be coming in episodes 4, 5, and 6. I bet they're probably will top the episodes that we've seen so far.
yeah.
This recent
Mhm.
one is 100% the best that we've had so far, in my
Yeah.
opinion, I believe. But the energy that these characters give me, and the nostalgia factor, and the story aspect of this, is just so phenomenal. What Deborah Chow has done with these characters to keep that prequel love alive, but also tie in to what life was like 10 years after that.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
it's so hard to like talk about this without doing any spoilers, because there were so many great moments in this recent episode. I just loved it so much. And I think some of it foreshadows what we're going to see in the next episodes.
Yep.
Um,
Absolutely.
and I've been every episode, I will be an emotional mess.
Yeah. Aerith,
Yeah.
your thoughts?
Again, it's like what we've all said. The show was like exactly what we expected and more. It's just like the show has been absolutely incredible with everyone involved. This is some of the best Ewan McGregor's acting I've ever seen in a while. Like the whole like PTSD aspect he's brought into the show, and like seeing Obi-Wan at his weakest, like having his Luke Last Jedi character archetype of like him doubting himself. It's just the show's been amazing, and I cannot wait to see how this all gets wrapped up. And I'll definitely go more in depth on my thoughts tomorrow during the roundtable.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So also opinions on upcoming releases. So we've got Andor, Tales of the Jedi, Bad Batch
Oh my
season
gosh,
2.
we'll be here all night.
What are okay? We'll keep it brief because I want to talk about this next topic in a little bit more depth, and I want to give it the justice it deserves. So, go around. Give me 2 shows that you're looking forward to. Anybody?
I'll go first because I already know what I'm saying. Tales of the Jedi and Bad Batch season 2. Oh my God, Tales of the Jedi! You all are like, do not sleep on the show. Just
No.
do not sleep on the show. Like we saw the first episode, teary eyes, amazing. The trailer was absolutely incredible. Like the amount of emotions and like just pure passion that is going into the show. It's going to be some of the best Star Wars animation that like we're ever going to see.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that one. And I remember during the panel, like it was such an impactful aroma in the room. And when we finished that first episode that we saw, it's just seeing these stories that they're coming up with. As what Dave Filoni said when he was at the panel, he was like, "I just came up with these on the spot when I was on my plane. I was on a plane ride and I just wrote these stories." And the fact that they're coming into fruition, and we saw one of these stories, it is so beautiful and it's so impactful. And it just stunned me with how well they made this show. As of I mean, we've only seen one out of the how many episodes that are
6.
going to release?
6 episodes.
But we've yet to see the Young Dooku and Qui-Gon episode.
Oh.
We've yet to see the Padawan, Ahsoka, and Anakin training episode.
Yes.
We have yet to see that there was a glimpse of the Padme funeral.
And then and a shot from the Ahsoka novel with her like in the village fire against the six brothers.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
hold on.
Oh,
So
geez.
that was one of my questions that I had when I was watching it. From whose perspective are we going to see Padme's funeral from?
Ahsoka's obviously.
But Ahsoka
Yeah.
wasn't there, was she?
We don't know.
You never know.
We don't know
maybe
that.
Yeah.
Maybe after what happened at the end of season 7, maybe she just goes and she takes a little trip to Naboo to say
But
her
how does she
farewells.
not? How does she not talk to Obi-Wan then?
Because he was on Tatooine.
Yeah, Obi-Wan might not be there.
Yeah.
Well, they made a pit
Yeah.
stop in at Naboo though to drop off the body.
That's true. I don't know. We'll find out.
Oh man.
I mean, he was wanted by the now Empire, so I don't think he would have
Yeah, that's true.
really stuck around to that.
No, yeah.
And also, like Ahsoka, it was presumed that she was buried on the planet too. So I think the Empire was under the impression that Ahsoka did die after season 7.
Yeah.
But it took forever for them to confirm her
Mhm.
death. We don't know how long it took till Anakin got back to that planet and looked for her. We don't know the timeline on that one too.
It's
Yeah.
true.
The apprentice lives.
Kir.
Oh my gosh, I am looking forward to all of them. I'm only 2. I'm really looking forward to Mandalorian season 3 because I am a Din Djarin simp. I'll keep it PG, but I'm very much looking forward to that for a lot of reasons, but also that. So I have to say that. But I know it didn't get a lot of love, at least that I saw at Celebration, but I'm still really excited for The Acolyte. That's like my show that will be my Joker.
That'll be your that'll be your Obi-Wan for me.
Yes, 100%. So
Yeah, we didn't get much about it, but it's gonna be interesting.
I'll wait. I can be patient.
Yeah.
It's good. We got a lot of good stuff to go. in
So over the weekend, I met somebody who had worked on Mando season 3 and working on Ahsoka. And I'm not going to give too much information, but I got to see things from this person off of their phone. And
What?
like at first I was like, is it legit? And then like, oh, there's Favreau. And it just got me so excited for Mando season 3 and Ahsoka and the stuff that he showed me. Again, it's one of those you're not ready. It's definitely a you're not ready status.
Nick,
on
I'm
those.
kind of
But,
curious to hear about this. Like we can like
when
talk
it's not
later, but-
online, I will tell
Yes,
you.
we'll talk
Okay.
about it later. But...
Yeah.
Well, do tell.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm
absolutely.
not hiding it. I'm just not posting it.
Oh
Publicly
yeah,
saying
absolutely,
anything.
absolutely. No, absolutely. We wouldn't want to get anybody into trouble. though.
Yeah.
But yeah,
NDAs.
yeah, absolutely. Alanis, what are you looking forward to?
Guess.
Oh God, Tales of the Jedi and Bad Batch.
Bad Batch, obviously, because Alanis. She's on brand.
No,
I was gonna say for her.
I would say,
I was
say
gonna
Tales of the
say-
Jedi. I would say Tales of the Jedi because of Qui-Gon.
No, I was gonna
she
say
loves Qui-Gon more than she loves Crosshair.
I was gonna say Ahsoka in Bad Batch because of Thrawn.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that too.
So my thing with Ahsoka is like if I think about it too much, my stomach hurts because there's just so much going on.
You're
So definitely Tales of the Jedi and Bad Batch. Ahsoka, literally, like I don't think I'm ready for live action Thrawn. I don't think I'm ready. So I'm gonna say those two because if I think about live action Thrawn for too long, I cry. So those two for sure.
Harith.
I already said Tales of the Jedi and Bad Batch.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I was the first one to win.
Char.
Ahsoka and Andor. Those are my two.
Oh, Andor.
Andor and Tales of the Jedi.
Ooh.
I'm not huge on Andor, but from what I saw,
It's so
and the
good.
possibilities of the Empire being
Oh.
there, are we going to
yeah.
see some things?
From what I saw,
Agent Callus.
From what I saw, the crowd reaction to when Diego Luna walked out, 100% Andor is on that. Like,
Yeah,
We
when
better.
Diego Luna and Genevieve O'Reilly just
it was
went up on the live
electric.
stage.
It was electric.
That
Yeah.
that
Are you
that
sure
crowd
that's the
blew up.
crowd yelling, or was that just Stardust M yelling?
No, the entire.
I
It
was
was
next to her.
That's-
I was
No,
next to her.
we
for
were
that.
next
She
to
was
her.
a mess.
No,
Oh, okay, wow.
but it wasn't just her; it was everyone.
She was like, hi, Diego."
Oh,
No, yeah, it was great. It was great. All right. So now we're gonna get into the kind of the heavy topic of the day. Over the weekend, Moses Ingram posted on her Instagram story of racist things being said. And was it Monday or was it yesterday?
I think it was.
When did Ewan say
Tuesday.
something? He
I think
said
it was Tuesday.
He said something on
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
yeah.
He came out and
Tuesday.
said so eloquently, if you say these things, you are not a Star Wars fan. And this is going to be my part, and then I will let you all go. Because my thing is this is why we can't have nice things. This is why we can't have. This is why John Boyega for a long time took a break from Star Wars. It's a long time why Kelly Marie Tran didn't
Deleted her social media.
Yeah, deleted her social media. This is why even back in the day, Lando caught or Billy D. Williams caught shit. What the people behind the computers don't understand is that we also have computers. We also have the capability of making our voices heard. We just came off of one of the biggest fucking conventions where everybody was up for everything. And this is where I draw the line. I am taking a stand. The Pod Once podcast and everybody involved with it, we do not stand for bigotry. We do not stand for racism. We do not stand for putting other people down. And I will call it out. I'm tired. I'm very, very tired. None of these people deserves any of this. They don't deserve this. They are playing a character in a show. I'm sorry if you there's one thing for not liking the character. I get that. But going out of your way to call the actor the N-word. Where do you get off? Like what in your mind says, "Oh, I think that's a good idea." It's not. So this is my stance, and I might be overstepping for other people's, but I think everybody's pretty much on the same page. We don't stand for that, and we never will.
Absolutely. And especially with the prequel actors too that have gone through this. We lost Hayden and Ewan before. Why would you push your luck and do it again by showing that this hate still exists 15 years later, and that racism amongst the Star Wars fandom is still there as it was beforehand, with Ahmed Best unfortunately having to go through his thing because of his portrayal of Jar Jar. It's terrible. We need to be better. All of us need to take a stand, use our voice, and speak about these terrible things that are happening to the actors, the actresses, the directors, the writers. Everyone is being impacted by this negative energy that should never be in this community. And it's so important that we have to just suppress it as much as we can. It'll never go away, but we have to be able to say to their face, look, stop it. It is not them. It is you. You're the problem, and you need to stop it now. Or you can go and be with any other effing fandom that will accept you, which will be none of them.
No one. And also, Remy did bring up a good point. Sexism and homophobia. I missed those because I was in my little
like the little
go.
actress for Leia, like young Leia getting shit as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no room for this. There's none.
And we can't just like ignore it. It's not gonna go away. It's not something you just turn a blind eye to. Like you have to stand up to it. You have to be louder. And even Moses's post the next day was like, I heard the love. It is louder. Like there was a post about that, and that's what we have to do. Is like there are more of us, and we need to show that love and support everybody and be louder.
We're always for light and for life, and as long as our light shines brighter than the dark, we will beat this bigotry and terrible shit that happens every single day.
Absolutely. Kir?
Sorry, I was on mute. I know people are like sick of the Star Wars. I'm so sick of being associated with the fandom that's just inherently, oh yeah, I hear that's really toxic fandom. It's not, I mean, it is, but there's more of us. There's parts of it that are so wonderful. And I would love it if we could just be known for more of that instead of this shit.
Absolutely. Alanis?
I think you guys really summed it up. I think, at the end of the day, just don't be an asshole. And if you see someone being an asshole, kick him in the face. Well, I mean, like, don't be violent, don't get arrested. But obviously, stand up for what is right. And hopefully, in the coming future, we can all be better and we can kind of kick those awful people out of here.
The second point that has been brought to all of our attention is the Rotten Tomato scores. I mean, obviously that shouldn't really fucking matter to begin with, but it went from a 71% before Ewan said something to 51. I know this might be a petty thing, but we all have to create an account and get that back up, because that's not even close to what the score is.
It's just the
We all
fandom
know
being
this.
petty again. They're
It's
just pulling their shit.
it's the racists, it's the bigotrous, it's all these fucking goddamn YouTubers trying to push their agenda, their political agenda, thinking that Disney is woke. Disney is not woke. They are changing. They are evolving. If you don't want to get on the fucking bus, get off, because we're moving in a new direction. Sorry, Star Wars is not for you anymore. We're
moving
diversity.
forward.
We're
moving forward, and if you don't want to hop on, we're leaving you.
We want more people to feel included. Star Wars is inclusive. There's 20 million beings in the fucking galaxy. And we have a problem about a black person playing in Star Wars? What is this? This is not acceptable. And I will not sit by and have this happen to it anymore. I'm done. I will call it out. I will make videos, because people need to be held accountable for their actions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, Luke.
Good tweet.
But anyway, let's end this on a happy note. I appreciate all of you coming on. Sorry, it got a little bit of a darker tone there, but
It didn't get darker.
It needs to happen.
It
Yeah,
needed
it needed to
be said.
It needed to be said, and
We had to address it.
I as a podcast, we might not be one of the biggest ones, but no matter how big or small you are, and everybody that is listening or watching, know that you do have a voice. Your voice does matter, and that I would implore you to stand up for what is right, because at the end of the day, we're going to be on the right side of history, and they aren't. But thank you guys for coming on. Nick, where can the good people follow you on social media?
Again, codename_Fulcrum on TikTok, and then Nick_codename_Fulcrum on Instagram.
Ven does say, if selling out means being a decent human being, I'll happily wear that title. Same here, bud. Kir, where can the good people follow you?
Yep, TikTok, Instagram. Where is this? Mandaklorian. On both of them.
Alanis.
Notakyber on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, you can follow me at Discovering the Galaxy on TikTok.
Go follow her, Discovering the Galaxy. She's got a fun little, she's teaching a Star Wars class. Go support it. We will be involved with it in some capacity. So we're looking forward to helping that initiative and pushing the teaching kids that don't be an asshole. Just don't be an asshole. Harith, co-host.
Basically.
First day.
First day.
How'd it go?
Oh well, I guess I don't know. I don't know how to describe this experience.
I've had better.
I've had better. I've had worse. Just never.
Which is okay. It's just the same old, same old.
It's like Luke is just being the dad here. Of like, how was your day at school, son?
Pretty much.
Do you want a Pillsbury dough cookie?
Where can the good people follow you on social media besides being on here?
You can find me at Hair Productions on TikTok and my other podcast, They Fly Now Show on YouTube every Monday at 5 o'clock Pacific. We're talking about different topics of Star Wars. Again, I think this week we're just going to talk about the aftermath of Celebration and everything that came from that. But yeah, now I'm going to throw it to Char with this casual pointing.
I love this chaos.
I'm waiting.
Oh, Char, where can the good people follow you?
Good people, you can find me on TikTok at CharCharJ, as spelled right here. And you can find me at the Podwans Podcast every Thursday night to cover our Clone Wars rewatch and every Friday night to cover our Kenobi roundtables.
We are in full Kenobi swing. We are going to be talking about the first 3 episodes. We have Beth Mara J. Skywalker on. We've got some other really awesome guests that I am going to hold back in the chamber because they're new faces to our show.
You'll find out in 24 hours.
You'll find out in 24 hours. But you guys can follow me, but us at what?
Sorry, my next course said.
All right, well, this will be on a light one. There we go. It says as long as we're not finding Char in the kitchen, we're good. All right.
Tone shifts in this episode. Jesus. First,
everybody,
we're happy, and then we're serious, and then we're back to happy, and then we're laughing.
And that's what you get. That's what you get with us. That's the Podwans Podcast. You guys can follow us at the Podwans Podcast on TikTok, the Podwans Pod on Instagram, and at Podwans Podcast on Twitter. Harith is editing, getting close to being finished with the championship match. That should be out here in the next couple of days, if not, maybe next week. But don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. If you're rewatching this, that would help us immensely. If you're listening to us, audio, give us 5 stars. Do the whole 9 yards. We're kind of lacking on the audio part, but we would absolutely love it if you guys could support us on there. But that's gonna be it for Light and Life.
We're all the Republic.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.